Before the first light touches the hills of Ghana, when darkness still blankets the land, elders whisper prayers into the void. Nyame, they call, Onyankopon. Names for something beyond naming, the force that brought forth existence itself. The Akan people have a proverb, Obing chirai akuda nyame. No one shows a child the supreme being. For how can you point to what is everywhere? How do you indicate the invisible hand that weaves together all that? Today, we journey into the heart of one of Africa's most profound spiritual traditions, to meet Nyame, the supreme god of the Akan people. I am the goddess of wisdom and knowledge, and the keeper of all spiritual history from the beginning of time. I welcome all higher souls, awakened souls. If you are watching this, it is not a mistake. You are supposed to be here. You will find what you are looking for after watching this video. Who are the Akan? To understand Nyame, we must first know the people who have carried his wisdom for countless generations, known for their distinctive kente cloth, gold craftsmanship, and the talking drum that can mimic human speech. The Akan have created one of Africa's most vibrant cultural legacies. At the center of this legacy stands their understanding of the divine, a sophisticated spiritual framework with Nyame at its pinnacle. What makes the Akan concept of God so remarkable isn't just its depth, but its resilience. Despite centuries of colonial pressure and the introduction of Christianity and Islam, Nyame remains. Sometimes adapted, sometimes syncretized, but never forgotten. Nyame, the name and concept, Nyame, Onyankopon, Odumakoma, Boribori. These names echo across Akan communities, each revealing a different facet of the Supreme Being's nature. Nyame itself derives from ancient roots meaning the Shining One, or the Bright One, he who illuminates all existence. Onyankopon extends this concept, the Great One who alone is the sky, vast, all-encompassing, beyond measure. Odumakoma speaks to his infinitude, the boundless one who has no beginning and no end. And Boribori, perhaps most vividly, means the excavator or the carver. The one who fashioned creation as an artist shapes a masterpiece. Unlike the anthropomorphic gods of many traditions, Nyame transcends simple personification. Though often referred to in masculine terms, Nyame embodies both masculine and feminine principles, the complete totality of being itself. The concept of Nyame reveals sophisticated theological thinking that predates contact with Abrahamic religions. Here was no simple nature deity or tribal god, but a supreme cosmic force described with striking similarities to what philosophers call the absolute or ultimate reality. As the Akan saying goes, Nyame ne hene, God is king. But this kingship extends beyond human understanding of power. Nyame's authority doesn't come from conquest or dominance, but from being the very source and substance of existence itself. How did all come to be? The Akan have preserved creation stories that speak to Nyame's primal creative act. In the beginning, there was only Nyame, complete, self-contained, perfect. Out of this divine fullness came the impulse to create, not from need, but from the overflow of being itself. Some accounts tell of Nyame first creating Asase Ya, the earth goddess, as his complement, establishing the sacred marriage of sky and earth that would generate all life. Nyame sent down his son, Anansi the spider, to weave the fabric of the world. What's striking in Akan cosmogony is its emphasis on intentionality. Creation wasn't accidental or chaotic, but deliberate, a divine artistic expression. As one elder put it, Nyame created the world the way a weaver creates kente cloth, thread by careful thread, with pattern and purpose. After fashioning the physical universe, Nyame breathed life into humanity. The Akan believe that each person contains a spark of Nyame's essence, the okra or soul, connecting each individual directly to the divine source. This spiritual inheritance establishes the foundation for Akan ethics. Because all humans share this divine essence, all deserve respect and dignity. The concept promotes both individual worth and community responsibility. Each person is both uniquely valuable and inextricably connected to others. The distance and nearness of Nyame. Perhaps the most fascinating tension in Akan theology is the paradox of Nyame's simultaneous distance and nearness. Akan tradition often describes Nyame as having once lived close to humanity, directly involved in daily affairs. But humans, through carelessness or arrogance, drove Nyame away into the distant sky. One common story tells of a woman pounding fufu, a staple food, whose pestle repeatedly struck the sky where Nyame dwelled, eventually forcing him to retreat upward. This myth explains why Nyame now seems remote from human concerns. Yet despite this physical distance, Nyame remains spiritually present. As the Akan saying goes, "Wope soro a, Nyame ni achiri." If you want to reach the heavens, God is not behind you, meaning God is accessible. This theological nuance gave rise to the complex spiritual ecosystem of the Akan, where lesser divinities known as Abosom serve as intermediaries between humans and the supreme Nyame. These nature spirits, often associated with rivers, mountains, or trees, handle day-to-day concerns, while Nyame maintains cosmic order. The ancestors, too, play a crucial role. Those who have passed on but remain connected to their families, intervening on their behalf with the spiritual realm. This three-tiered cosmology, Nyame at the top, Abosom in the middle, and ancestors closest to the living, creates a spiritual network that bridges the gap between the transcendent and the immanent, Nyame. In everyday life, for the Akan, Nyame isn't merely a theological concept, but a living reality that permeates daily existence. Walk through any traditional Akan community, and you'll see Nyame's presence everywhere. Adinkra symbols, visual representations of proverbs and concepts, adorn cloth, pottery, and architecture. Many directly reference Nyame, like the Nyame symbol, meaning except for God, expressing the supremacy of the divine. Listen to everyday speech, and you'll hear Nyame's name constantly invoked. Nyame Adom, God's grace, offered as thanks for good fortune. Sinyamepe, if God wills, attached to any future plans. Nyamen Shirawo, God bless you, given freely as both greeting and farewell. Even personal names often reference Nyame. Nyame Che, God's gift. Nyame Ama, God has given. And Nyame Asem, God's word, all acknowledge divine presence in human life. This integration of the divine into everyday experience reveals something profound about Akan spirituality. There is no sharp division between sacred and secular, spiritual and material. All aspects of life, farming, trading, celebrating, mourning, unfold within Nyame's cosmic embrace. Perhaps most striking is how this theological framework fostered resilience during historical trauma. During the brutal centuries of the transatlantic slave trade, captured Akan people carried Nyame with them across the ocean. In the Americas, Nyame's presence offered spiritual continuity amid unimaginable rupture, a divine constant when everything else had been stolen away. Nyame ethical values. What does Nyame expect of humanity? The Akan tradition offers clear ethical guidance rooted in divine principles. At the heart of Akan ethics stands the concept of Suban Pa, good character. A person with Suban Pa embodies truthfulness, respect, diligence, and wisdom. These virtues aren't arbitrary social conventions, but reflections of cosmic order established by Nyame himself. As one proverb states, Obi nye Nyame ba, Yanina ye Nyame mama. No one is the only child of God. We are all God's children. This foundational principle establishes the ethical imperative of treating all people with dignity and justice. Akan ethics emphasizes both individual responsibility and communal harmony. One must develop personal excellence while maintaining balanced relationships within society. This holistic approach avoids excessive individualism and stifling conformity. Particularly important is the virtue of ahofama, humility. Since Nyame alone possesses ultimate power and knowledge, human arrogance becomes not just socially inappropriate, but cosmically disordered. The humble recognition of one's limitations opens the path to wisdom. Interestingly, traditional Akan moral theology doesn't emphasize punishment and reward in the Western religious sense. Wrongdoing creates immediate disharmony in the community and the cosmos. The consequence is built into the action itself. Virtue, likewise, naturally produces harmony and well-being. This integrative understanding sees ethics as woven into the fabric of reality rather than imposed from outside. Nyame in art and symbol. The Akan have developed rich visual and symbolic languages to express their understanding of Nyame. Most famous are the Adinkra symbols, ideographic designs that encode philosophical concepts, proverbs, and spiritual insights. Several directly represent aspects of Nyame. The Nyame symbol, a twisted abstract form, is perhaps the most widely recognized. It signifies the omnipotence and immortality of God, with the saying, "Except for God, I fear nothing." Nyame wo soro, God is in the heavens, shows a crescent moon and star, acknowledging divine transcendence. Nyame nwuna mawu, God never dies, therefore I cannot die, features a spiral pattern suggesting eternity and expressing belief in the immortality of the soul. These symbols appear everywhere, printed on fabric, carved into stools and architectural elements, incorporated into jewelry and ceremonial objects. They transform ordinary items into philosophical texts, allowing people to literally wear wisdom and carry spiritual reminders through daily life. Beyond visual symbols, Nyame appears in oral arts as well. Drummers communicate divine attributes through specific rhythm patterns. Storytellers weave Nyame into folktales, often contrasting his wisdom with the trickster Anansi's cleverness. Poets and singers craft praises that attempt to capture divine mystery in human language. This artistic abundance demonstrates how deeply Nyame has inspired cultural creativity. Rather than restricting expression, belief in the Supreme Being has generated endless aesthetic innovation, each new form attempting to glimpse another facet of the ineffable. Nyame in the modern world. How does an ancient concept of God function in today's rapidly changing world? For contemporary Akan people and their descendants globally, Nyame remains remarkably relevant. In modern Ghana, traditional beliefs about Nyame coexist and intermingle with Christianity and Islam. Many churches incorporate Adinkra symbols and traditional proverbs about Nyame, seeing continuity rather than contradiction between ancient wisdom and newer faith traditions. Some theologians argue that Nyame prepared the Akan to receive Christianity, a perspective that honors indigenous spirituality rather than dismissing it. Political leaders invoke Nyame during national ceremonies. Business people place Nyame symbols on their shops. Hip-hop artists sample traditional Nyame praises in their tracks. The concept continues to evolve, while maintaining its essential character. Perhaps most significantly, Nyame-centered thinking offers resources for addressing contemporary challenges. Its emphasis on cosmic balance suggests environmental responsibility. Its insistence on shared divine essence supports human rights frameworks. Its integration of spiritual and material concerns offers alternatives to both religious fundamentalism and materialistic secularism. For the African diaspora, reconnecting with Nyame has become part of reclaiming cultural heritage after historical disruptions of slavery and colonization. From Brazil to Jamaica to the United States, people of Akan descent are rediscovering the spiritual wisdom of their ancestors, finding in Nyame not just a historical artifact, but a living source of meaning and identity. Nyame Universal Lessons. What might Nyame teach those outside the Akan tradition? What universal wisdom does this particular understanding of divinity offer our divided world? First, Nyame's transcendence combined with immanence offers a balanced spiritual vision. The Supreme Being is neither so distant as to be irrelevant, nor so personalized as to become merely human-like. This theological nuance avoids both cold deism and anthropomorphic limitation. Second, the Akan integration of spirituality into all aspects of life challenges artificial separations between sacred and secular. Rather than relegating religion to designated times and places, Nyame-centered thinking sanctifies everyday experience, finding divine fingerprints in ordinary moments. Third, the ethical framework flowing from Nyame emphasizes harmony with nature, community, and cosmic order. In an era of ecological crisis and social fragmentation, this holistic perspective offers healing alternatives to exploitative relationships. Perhaps most importantly, the Akan concept of God demonstrates how sophisticated theological thinking has flourished in oral traditions outside Western philosophical frameworks. It reminds us that wisdom wears many cultural garments, and that ancient African spiritual insights deserve recognition alongside other world traditions. As one elder put it, Nyame speaks many languages and answers to many names, but the truth remains truth no matter what tongue speaks it. We began in darkness, waiting for dawn. Now light spreads across the hills of Ghana, the same hills where countless generations have contemplated Nyame's mystery. The Akan have a saying, Nyame enti yenka asem. Because of God, we do not speak of everything. Some knowledge remains beyond words, accessible only through reverent silence and lived experience. Perhaps that's the final wisdom Nyame offers, the humble recognition that the divine always exceeds our categories and concepts. No documentary, no explanation, no theology can fully capture what the Akan call Nyame a owosoro nefamina, God who is in the heavens and throughout all the earth. As we conclude our journey, we return to that fundamental Akan insight. Obinchire akwada Nyame. No one needs to show a child the Supreme Being. The divine speaks directly to the human heart across cultures and centuries. We need only to listen.